Secrets from the studio.
This is how you see us.
Behind the scenes for the making of a newscast. Next on Chronicle. And good evening. Tonight you have got a studio pass for a virtual tour of News Center 5.
When you're used to seeing the final product, now we bring you the rest of the story.
What is the broadcast?
This is what we do. Oh, it's time for makeup in a minute.
Chris, do you know we need a headline? We need it now, please.
In the news business, there's no such thing as a typical day.
It's the same rudiments every day, but it could be something completely different. And even from what we had this morning at 9 o'clock for stories, you know, of what we had, you know, half of it's changed already.
All right, is that trooper still
Let me know you get down there. We may have something up in this neck of the woods, too. So
Assignment manager Joe Roach is the newsroom's 911 dispatcher. Joe monitors police and fire scanners, assigns stories, and deploys news crews.
Hi, Joe Roach from Channel 5. How you doing? I get in at 7 o'clock in the morning. We go through all the stuff from the overnight, anything that's going on in the morning, events that we know are going on throughout the day that we're going to cover, any sort of news that we think we want to cover, who's going to cover it, and how much attention we're going to give it. And then divvy it up from there, how it's going to be put into every newscast. Hello, just curious to see what your ETA was down to Wareham.
Right now, things are pretty slow, but that can change in a second, and today it does.
You know, there was a person reported a shooting on West Walnut Street, person shot. Did you hear anything about it? Shot 5 times? Person with a gun in the school. Okay. Police searching for a man wearing camouflage, carrying a handgun in the vicinity of Hale Street.
Calmly and quickly, Joe sends his crews on their way. Assignment editor Sheila Halloran preps anchor Ed Harding on the breaking news.
No, Superintendent's office named
Superintendent's office tells us.
Within minutes, Ed is on the air.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ed Harding in the Channel 5 newsroom. At this hour in Newburyport, police are searching for a man wearing camouflage and carrying a handgun in the vicinity of Hale Street.
Trying to get information, try to get on the air, but also try to get it right, too. If you're going to break into, you know, at this point, soap operas, you want to make sure that it's something, you know, that it's worth the viewer needs to know.
Day turns to night, and no news is breaking. Reporter Mary Saladna and photographer Dave Buswell Weibel have to come up with a good story of their own for the 11 o'clock news.
I would say that, you know, generally, there's always like one night of the week where you're trying to take what's a big story of the day and find some other angle. And this is one of those nights.
People are getting, 2% raises.
A night when everyone is talking about the economy. So Mary and Dave head to Uncle Pete's Hickory Ribs in Revere, a small business coming up with inventive ways to fill their tables.
Mary Saladna, nice to meet you. The owner of this business has his finger on the pulse of people in his community, but also that he's very candid about his own situation. He's a successful businessman going through a really tough economy, though, and a tough time, and one of the worst times he's ever seen as a business owner, and he's willing to admit that and talk about that.
Mary interviews Peter Cucciara and a few customers. Dave shoots B-roll, the video for Mary's report.
Hello, EJ received from the Eagle. We're over in Revere. Mast is about 2/3 of the way up.
Technician Jim Hughes runs the microwave truck, which will allow Mary to report live from Revere.
The best thing about this kind of story are the people. The second best thing is the restaurant right there.
Now Mary has less than 2 hours to view her video, write a script, and edit her story.
You get so many good interviews and so much information, and how do you condense it? How do you weed it out? And just deliver sort of the essence of the story, but also kind of nail it, and make sure that you really captured it. So that's probably the hardest thing.
It's a Friday night, and most of the seats in Uncle Pete's Hickory Ribs are empty.
Minutes before 11, the piece is complete. Mary and Dave prepare for the live shot.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing
then
1, 2, 3.
It's time to go live.
It all is, in fact, just over my shoulder. Take a look at this sign. The famous Uncle Pete's Hickory Ribs place is selling hot dogs for $1. This is no joke. It's a sign of tough times for the restaurant business and an actual strategy to lure back the lunch crowd.
Tonight, everything goes as planned. Who knows what tomorrow may bring?
That's kind of the fun of it. You could be going to talk to somebody interesting, or you could be going to a burning building. You never know.
I'm Mary Saladna, News Center 5.
And Dave, a photographer who works with Mary, said that his favorite thing about working the night shift is that the State House is closed down, the 9-to-5 jobbers have gone home. He feels like the stories at night have a little more edge to them. The people are very interesting. The hardest thing, he said, getting it in on deadline.
It is a whole different flavor every day, too. A different thing to the night and to the daytime. The nightmare that haunts a news anchor, though, when we return in just 70 seconds. Coming up next, Anchor.
We tease each other like a brother and sister. We respond to each other like a brother and sister.
Closed caption funding provided by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? Liberty Mutual.
How does it feel to save on Toyota's superior value? Ask someone that has. And right now, during Toyota's Thanksgiving sales event, you could get value over 30 MPG for under $200 a month. Corolla, 35 MPG. Lease one now for just $179 a month for 36 months. Or Camry, 31 MPG. Lease one for just $199 a month for 36 months. Toyota's Thanksgiving sales event ends December 1st. Come in and ask how much you could save.
Boston Ballet's The Nutcracker, presented by State Street Corporation, opens November 28th at the Opera House. Experience the magic. Call Ticketmaster or visit bostonballet.org today.
At the heart of Mount Auburn Hospital in Cambridge is the new Frank Stanton Building, where our teams provide the highest quality cardiovascular and critical care. Mount Auburn keeps getting better, so you can too.
Ever have that bad dream about sleeping through a final exam? Well, news anchors suffer from recurring nightmares as well.
Only worse, I think. More on that shortly. But first, it's time for the 11 o'clock news team to get ahead of today's stories.
This is News Center 5 at 11 local.
What you see on the 11 o'clock news begins here in the Channel 5 newsroom with executive producer Jenny Barron, who begins working on the newscast as soon as she gets up in the morning.
I read, obviously, the Globe and the Herald, but you read all of the little papers all across the state, try to make sure I'm, in the loop on everything, read the national papers, read the New York Times. So by the time I walk in the door around 2 o'clock, I have a real good sense of what's going on.
On this day, one story is a grim one. An 8-year-old boy who shot himself with an Uzi. It was covered on the 6 o'clock news. Now for the 11 o'clock, Jorge Quiroga works on updating the story.
Call the house first, so you think it's a long schlep to go to Lunenburg and knock on the door.
Together, Jenny and producer Sam Bukowicz select the stories they believe you want to see.
It has to pass a relevancy test. If it's not relevant to your life, if it doesn't speak to your experience, if it doesn't, help you understand something in a meaningful way, then, these crime stories, it's really got to mean something to people.
While Jenny and Sam begin to structure the 11 o'clock news, anchors Ed Harding and Heather Unruh prepare for the early evening newscasts. Although both thrive on the fast pace of live television news, Unruh says she's haunted by one recurring dream.
I have nightmares about not making it. Being on my way to the set and, a drawer comes out, or you trip over and you fall, or you don't have any makeup on. Sometimes you don't have any clothes on, and you can't quite get there.
Did you realize that slipped out?
Yeah.
You did not. That is how you said it.
No, I didn't.
Heather and Ed started working together on the Eye-Opener newscast 7 years ago.
It's the strangest thing. It's natural, and it's brother and sister. I don't know why. It's the first time we sat down next to each other. It's just like, I don't know, kindred spirits or souls that work together. And we tease each other like a brother and sister. We respond to each other like a brother and sister.
You didn't see me kick him. Did you feel it? It's the true disparity. Truth be told, this is how you see us.
Steve, do you have anything? No, just got in here.
While video editors work at a frantic pace, back in the newsroom, producers tweak their scripts, knowing the newscast could change in an instant.
You can have your entire show put together, everything's written, and at 10 o'clock something happens, you know, in Lunenburg, and away you go, and you have to change everything up.
A manhunt in Boston tonight. Police say 2 suspects cleaned house at a small corner store in the Fenway.
News Center 5's Jorge Quiroga has our local live coverage. He is in Boston tonight. Jorge?
Sure enough, Jorge drops his original assignment for a robbery in Boston, but there's plenty of time to recoup.
Where did the hours go tonight? Probably my favorite part of the day is about 10:35 at night when I go into the studio and you've worked all day to pull together great stories and really finesse the writing, and that's your chance to really deliver it.
You gonna be okay to call a show?
Hey, that Ed. Oh my.
Oh my. Whatever you've done for the last 8, 9 hours, 10 hours, you've got to put it together and go on the air for a half an hour. So the best part is actually doing it on the air.
That's what I want to track.
And tonight, the small market at the corner of
21 out to camera 1.
Perfect. And finally and wisely, they decided to call this thing off.
The newscast goes smoothly with no late-breaking changes, and that's just fine with Jenny Barron.
The days when you do breaking news and you have that stuff is fun. It gets your blood pumping, but I think you have the real opportunity to change people's lives or to impact how they view the world, and that's what I love about it.
Well, thanks for staying up with us.
The Bruins scored a goal. They won 1-0. Good night.
Heather was talking about her news nightmare. I have a recurring nightmare that I'm rushing into the studio at the time I tie, because I don't have it on yet. There's 10 seconds to go, and I cannot get the tie tied.
That's a real nightmare, and I unfortunately could not help you with it because I don't know how to tie a tie either, but that's a bad one.
Yeah.
It always has to do with the clock.
Had it
news.
for years.
Well, today, news is now on demand.
And the demand it's putting on the news gatherers is significant when Chronicle continues.
Coming up next,
Do they ever get angry with me?
weathering a high-pressure zone.
News Center 5 Eye Opener. Morning made better. Traffic and weather in the 5s. A new look for traffic. An accurate Storm Team 5 forecast. Overnight breaking news. Weekdays starting at 5.
I got something in the mail from my health insurance company. I figured this can't be good.
Never used to like caring for my health insurance company.
Turns out they're reminding me to use my $300 fitness benefit.
Health clubs, yoga, Weight Watchers, school and town sports fees.
I mean, who does that? $300, and they remind you to use it.
For benefits and savings that fit your life better, call now for your free health plan evaluation. Fallon Community Health Plan. More you.
I'll be home for Christmas.
This holiday with Crest White Strips Premium. You'll bring home a smile that can't be missed. See whiter teeth after just 3 days. Full results in 7. This holiday, share a whiter smile with Crest White Strips Premium.
This is where I got an A in math.
This is where I get all my music.
This is where we found Sadie.
This is where I made our vacation dream a reality.
This is where hackers and viruses fear to tread.
This is where our life online meets our life.
Get a super fast connection and a great value with Comcast high-speed internet. Just $29.99 per month for 6 months. It's Comcastic.
Make a difference. Log on to the Boston Channel /Commonwealth 5 and we'll connect you to local nonprofits that need your help. Commonwealth 5, your hub for giving, only at the Boston Channel, powered by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Need help with banking? Go to the Boston Channel's local experts page and click on Mercantile Bank, where you're much more than just a number. For all of your banking needs, trust the Boston Channel's local expert. Mercantile Bank, banking on a first-name basis.
You don't have to change your life to change his. Become a big brother. Go to bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
Are you a type A personality? Is adrenaline your favorite beverage?
Well, then perhaps a newsroom job is for you, because if you can't take the stress, you won't find success. Ask most people what they like about working in television news, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Well, there's kind of an adrenaline rush.
It's a constant adrenaline rush.
There's no question that there's an adrenaline rush in the newsroom.
Stand by, Mike. Here we go. Stand by, roll 4. Roll 4. White, Mike Ed, stand by.
Perhaps no job in television uses as much adrenaline as directing a newscast. Director Dorothy Will is in a constant state of motion.
Take cue. Thanks, Mike. You're clear. Rondella, not too far from you. Stand by, camera 5 and key. And double cut.
I think with anything, you get accustomed to the stress level. I'm a type A personality. I think anybody that's successful at this is a type A personality, just the nature of the beast.
We killed the A-13. What should he do? He can toss, well, he can toss back to him because there's no, the sound is gone.
You know, I always like to say, thank God we're not surgeons because no one's dying.
Dorothy could be the captain of the Starship Enterprise in this high-tech control room, but she compares herself to an orchestra conductor.
I'm the only person really that doesn't operate a piece of equipment. I have sound engineers, video engineers, editors, cameramen. You know, every technical position you can think of, there's somebody that's actually running that equipment and doing that. There has to be one person that kind of gets them all in concert together.
Today's television broadcasts are all about technology, from robotic cameras to soundboards to video effects. Running it all is a job that doesn't allow for a lot of mistakes, but does allow for a little levity.
How many directors does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1, no 2, no 3.
Somebody might walk in and say, oh my God, they're making jokes. And, you know, being pretty silly. That's a huge stress controller for all of us. So that's how you kind of do it. You have to have a sense of humor no matter what you're doing.
All right, camera 1 is at the downstage. Clock Harvey at 2:30, please. 2:30.
In the studio, meteorologist Harvey Leonard stands in front of a green screen. The screen is never seen at home. Technical director Rob Fagnet replaces it with the appropriate map. But that's hardly the most impressive Storm Team 5 technology.
We have our high-definition Doppler, HD Doppler, our own Doppler radar that is out at Hopkinton, and it's scanning all across our viewing area, picking up rain and snow, how heavy it is. We have something that we call Futurecast, which can try to give you a timeline, hour by hour, through the next day and the day after. You know, when is rain going to move in? When's it going to be heaviest? When's it going to exit? Where's the rain snow line going to be?
High definition has opened a whole new world for TV forecasting, says weather manager Joe Venuti.
But we can take some high-resolution satellite data. We can get down to street level, down to Fenway Park. Now, the data itself, you know, once it is, you know, clear sunny day, not a big deal, but once you get down to the levels itself, you can tell whether it's raining on one street or another. I mean, it's incredible.
Another advancement, snow accumulation predictions for any city or town.
And here in eastern Massachusetts, the Cape,
it's a long way from the days of drawing forecasts by hand. Just remember, cautions Harvey, this is still not a perfect science.
Do they ever get angry with me if I'm ever wrong? It's never happened. Yeah, right. Of course they do. Overall, weather forecasting has become more accurate. Obviously not completely accurate, but definitely more so, much more so. But as that happens, it's only natural that people's expectations go up along with it. Now, you could forecast a snowstorm 24 hours out, and some businesses and schools are already going to cancel on the forecast that's 24 hours out in the future. Yeah, you know, the pressure's on, especially in the winter.
Looking for an instant forecast? It's here on thebostonchannel.com, which averages 20 million visitors a month who are looking for weather, breaking news, and entertainment. Maria Buckley is the website's managing editor.
The internet has ratcheted up how quickly people expect to get news and how quickly we're expected to get it on the website. And that's really our claim to fame at the Boston Channel, is that we routinely beat most of the websites in the region getting breaking news on the internet.
The Boston Channel works hand in hand with the news team, carrying stories from daily newscasts. The site also offers clickers, quirky stories unavailable from traditional media outlets. But the most popular particular story on the site to date is hardly quirky, especially to members of Red Sox Nation.
One of the biggest events we ever had on the Boston Channel was when we live streamed the very first Red Sox World Series parade. It was on a Saturday, and it broke all the records for the company in terms of live streams up to that point. We had emails from people all over the world, Scotland and Hong Kong, asking us about it and thanking us for putting that out there.
That's Kevin Millar right there, that's for sure.
And of course, news organizations all over the country are facing increasing competition from the web and other venues, so the website's a huge part of News Center 5. And in fact, so far this year, they already have 200 million page views, mostly from the Boston area, but a lot from around the country as well.
Yeah, I get a kick out of the expats around the country watching.
Checking in.
A news photographer puts his marriage to the test.
The details on that right after this break.
Tomorrow at 7:30, convicted of murder, a repentant father tries to make amends, but it's too late for his own son. Now, 9 inmates at Old Colony Prison send a chilling warning that everyone should hear. The raw truth, tomorrow on Chronicle.
Get the most stylish gifts of the holiday at half the price. It's Kohl's 50% off sale, where you'll find 50% off the season's must-have toys, 50% off your favorite bedding, and 50% off frames and candles. All dinnerware is half price, family sweaters, and fleece too. Get 50% off boots and 50% off outerwear for everyone. Plus, seniors save an extra 15%. It's Kohl's 50% off sale this Tuesday and Wednesday. Kohl's. Expect great things.
The year-end sell-a-thon is on, and the clock is ticking. We're closing out 2008 by giving you some amazing deals. Now through the end of the year, you can get up to $7,500 in combined cash allowance on 2008 models. Plus, get a no extra charge DVD on select Chrysler and Jeep vehicles. And we have hundreds of financing options available, so we're making it easier to get the new Chrysler or Jeep vehicle you want. The year-end sell-a-thon is on at your Chrysler Jeep dealer, so hurry in before 2008 is over.
Rolling over and hiding under the pillow may seem like a good idea at the time, but you won't find opportunity under there. This is America. Opportunities are out here, waiting for you at Bank of America. Rewarding ways to spend, easier ways to build savings, and more secure ways to bank. No wonder families in America trust more of their hard-earned money with us than any other bank. Bank of America. Bank of Opportunity.
Now pay attention. 2 machine guns fixed. Revolving number plates.
Titanium armor.
Stinger missile.
Hydrochloric acid. Sonic agitator unit. X-ray scanner.
An ordinary tin of talcum powder. Smoke screen.
A fingerprint scanner.
Heat-seeking.
Homing device. A pen.
Underwater camera. Telescopic sight.
GPS tracking system.
A Geiger counter. You got it?
Yes, I think so.
From all 21 Bond films to sports to concerts and hit shows, only Comcast gives you over 1,000 HD choices. Comcast. No one gives you more HD.
Ice cream lovers always celebrate with Brigham's. Whether it's a favorite holiday, festive event, special occasion, or any day in between. People love Brigham's original recipe for its extra rich, smooth, and creamy taste. Brigham's, the preferred premium.
This portion of Chronicle is brought to you by Brigham's Ice Cream, the preferred premium.
News Center 5 photographer Stan Foreman likes to listen to the radio all the time. And we are not talking about easy listening.
Yeah, we're talking about police and fire scanners that get his constant attention. And for that, he needs good ears and a very patient wife. An explosion in Danvers. A blimp caught in the trees in Manchester by the Sea. A dog rescued in Hamilton. All in a day's work for veteran Channel 5 news photographer Stan Foreman.
It's like when I was a kid, I was going to be a fireman or a policeman. As a news photographer, I'm both. Every time I think about retiring, I think, what am I going to do? You know, will my heart take the non-pumping? I don't know.
Stan's days often begin driving the streets of Boston, checking the scanners, looking for stories. A self-described news junkie, his workday never really ends.
I have radios on in almost every room in the house, and I have a wonderful wife that just tells me to turn them down every once in a while, and then she rolls over and goes to sleep.
Stan began his career as a still photographer, winning 3 Pulitzer Prizes before making the change to television news.
The biggest difference is you can show up at a news scene after the fact with TV and make a story out of it. And you show up with the still camera after the fact, it's just not that good.
From film to video to high definition, TV news technology is ever-changing. News director Colleen Marin says launching Boston's first HD newscast is one of the highlights of her career.
There was a big team, and we actually worked on this beautiful set, which was just amazing just to see it in these schematics that would come over the computer, and then you get to pick the colors and the logos and the chairs and everything that goes with it.
Even television anchors who brave the super sharp cameras agree about the benefits of HD.
For a decade, women in particular had worried about high definition television. I like it. I don't have to wear as much makeup. The lighting's really nice. Haven't done Botox or anything like that.
I was frightened by HD initially, and now I love HD. And we got used to it watching the Red Sox games and the Patriot games, and all of a sudden to see your newscast in it is like, whoa, hello. I'll get home and look at the air check and say, I didn't know I had that pimple there.
Well, Stan Foreman still takes his still photographs when he's on the scene with the news camera. He is a frequent contributor to our website, so if you're fond of the photographs that he takes, check some of those out.
He is nonstop, and a special kudos to his lovely wife for her patience. That is Chronicle for tonight. Thanks very much for joining us. I'm Anthony Everett.
And I'm Mary Richardson. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Here is tonight's winning lottery number.